My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
Hey, gang, welcome back. Today, my special guest, zooming in from Fresno, California, has a lot of experience with real estate, with capital raising, with business. He's also a fellow podcast host. We've got Mr. Stephen Lee Thomas. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Dave, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, like you said, all the way from Central California.
That's right. Well, I'm from Central British Columbia, so there we go. Well, I think we're only a couple of thousand miles apart.
So we're both on the West Coast. That's the best coast right there. The best West Coast,
West
the best
is the
coast.
best, for sure.
That's right.
So, Stephen, you've been doing the whole real estate thing for a while. Maybe tell us a little bit about what your focus is. I believe you're a multifamily guy, and where you fit in the whole scheme of things when it comes to doing deals.
Sure. So like you said, I'm multifamily through and through. I've been down the path of a flip kind of a thing, and that sucked, and I didn't want to ever do that again. So I graduated to multifamily.
That's a pretty big jump going from one flip, saying screw this sucks, which I agree with you, into I'm just going to start doing apartment buildings. So that's a big jump.
Yeah. So let's qualify that a bit. At that moment in time, it was probably the worst time for me to try to do a flip. My son was, 2.5, and my wife, around that time got pregnant with the second one. I was very busy in my corporate career. We were going from a bottom of the Fortune 500 to the top of the Fortune 500, lots of acquisitions, mergers, and my role was director of client implementations. And so we just did like one implementation after another to the point we did like 10 or 12 at a time. I was just busy, right? I was starting a family. I was focused on my career. I had this money, wanted to invest in something. I was like, let's do real estate. Cool. Well, let's buy a house that's almost 100 years old and flip it. And that was just not anything I was interested in ever doing again. And in the midst of all of that, I was listening to a podcast and heard about passive investing in apartments. And I said, sign me up. And a long story short, I did it, and I got mailbox money while I was changing diapers. And I was like, why not do that full time? And then the rest is history. That's what.
So are you investing primarily as a limited partner in deals, or are you a GP in these?
So, I started as a passive investor. I invested in around 1,200 units. So I don't know, there's probably like 5 or 6 apartment complexes. And, I needed life to slow down for me a little bit, kids to sleep through the night kind of a thing. And the dust settled, but I leaned in a lot. And then I said, well, I want to become a general partner, which is, I'll go and be part of the team that finds the deal, and then I will work with passive investors. So I transitioned over to that. And so now I am, primarily a general partner, but I do have a self-directed IRA, and I invest passively in other multifamily deals with my self-directed IRA. So I do both, actually.
So as a GP, what's your primary function when you're part of the partner team?
I started out in underwriting. The short answer is, what I do now is more on the capital raising side, but I would prefer to call it like investor relations. There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of communication goes into it. But primarily right now, my focus is on the capital raising side, investor relations. When I started with the underwriting. I'm very analytical. I have an IT background. It was a low hanging fruit I could dig into, and I could do that early in the morning when my kids were asleep. I could do it during lunch when I was at work taking a lunch break, and everybody would go to sleep, and I could do some underwriting. And that's really how I got started. And then we got a deal, and because of my corporate background, very quickly got into the asset management side and contract side for whatever reason. But all of that, like really where the journey has led me to what I really, 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 truly enjoy is it's made a big difference in my life. connecting with new people, educating them, and presenting them with an opportunity, and then, continuing that relationship. That's really where I found my favorite spot to be.
And how long have you been kind of focused on that side of things?
Well, I would say probably the last 2.5 years I've been focused on that. I've been like really focused on it about the last year and a half. That's the time frame when I left my corporate job. And that's really allowed me the time to just really dig into that, with everything.
Still get to the last number of years, a lot of LPs have been kind of burned a bit with some deals. Has that affected raising capital for you?
Oh, 100%. It is extremely hard. Where it used to be, you could fund a deal within hours after webinar. Now there are deals that don't get funded. It is a very, very night and day difference. So where you had people that were just, hey, I will come up with money some way to invest in a deal. A lot of those people either are burnt, they've got the shell shock from what's there, the PTSD, if you will, or some of them have lost enough money that they don't even actually have money to invest. And so, what that amounts to is, as someone who's in the position to raise capital, is there's a lot of managing those relationships like across the board. And how do you build trust? Even as an operator who's felt some of that, having some deals with the variable rate loans and having to deal with that, how do you maintain investor trust along the way and then carry that forward and even be comfortable telling that story with new investors? And so I think what's important, and what I've learned is to be open and honest. And I cannot tell you how much people appreciate that. Like, when you tell people, hey, things are not real good, but we're doing all of these things, people are like, I appreciate you being honest and upfront.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing I've learned out of this whole situation.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
Yeah, it's tough to do, but once you do it, like you say, I mean, so many people are just trying to BS their way out of things and hide under the rock, and that doesn't work for very long.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't feel good about it, but I mean, the thing of it is, yes, if you are an operator in a situation like that, the best thing to do is over communicate with your investors to the point where they're like, okay, we get it. Like, we get it.
That's a really good point, Stephen. Yeah. Over communicate. Right?
Yeah.
Till they'd say, yeah, we know you're doing the best you can.
Yeah.
Lay off a little bit. We don't need to hear from every 24 hours. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good advice. So, Stephen, given that we're in kind of challenging times right now for raising capital, what are you doing to or what do you find is working well for you for generating new investor leads? Are you kind of trying to go after a new target group of people that perhaps haven't invested in multifamily before? What's your approach these days?
It's a bit of both. And so I'll say the investor pool that was investing in deals, it's constant communication with them. And we're about to the other side of that, where they're either recovered their money or gotten to the point where they're able to reinvest. And so it's continued relationships there. But like you mentioned, I mean, that's receded a lot. So the other side of that is finding new leads. And so we do, I focus a lot on building new relationships. And where do you find those people? Well, they're everywhere. I don't think you should look everywhere. I don't think you should target everywhere. For me, very specifically, I'm fresh out of corporate America in my role, and I speak that language. That's one of the things that people will tell you. Like, if you're trying to build a relationship and raising capital, you're probably the best place to start as a person that you used to be. And if you can have that conversation, then you relate to somebody very quickly because it's a relationship that you're focusing on. It's people invest with someone they know, like, and trust. So you need to develop that relationship, and the fastest path is, hang out with your tribe, if you will. So that's where we're putting most of our efforts right now, is in that space of literally what I just walked out of. And as an example,
what does that look like for you? Is that online meetings? Is that in-person meetings? Is that how are you connecting with these folks?
Yeah, really good question. And I think people should be doing all of the above. I think in person and online. COVID really forced us, I think, to being very comfortable online. But very specifically, I am, engaging with people specifically through LinkedIn. Like, if you want a strategy, LinkedIn. But let me tell you, more about that is, so I know, because I'm so close to that, and hopefully this resonates with people as they're listening, but because I'm so close to that space, one of the things that used to happen in my role is every year when the bonus came around is you would also get stock options, which is cool if the stock holds value. But it doesn't always hold value. So I'm always kind of checking in on what's going on. Well, I saw that there was a big dip in the stock, and I was like, what is going on? Well, it wasn't just the company I was working for. There was a number of things that happened in the space. So guess what? I get to lean into a whole bunch of people that are feeling this big pain of, oh my gosh, like this stock that I've got has lost value. It's gone in half. Wow. I need a better place to put my money than just leave it over here. Well, guess what? I work with corporate professionals who, make good money and want to diversify out of the stock market. Would you like to learn more about how I did it and how I help people? And so when you have that understanding of, a particular avatar, so, capital raising is a lot like marketing. You've got to think of a particular avatar. If you market to everybody, you market to nobody, kind of a thing. So like when you have that perspective, that lens of, I'm going to go after this person specifically and I can relate to them, I speak their language, it just moves things a lot faster. You remove a lot of friction.
Very, very smart. So what's been your experience, Stephen, if you don't mind sharing? Like, if you meet somebody on LinkedIn, it takes a while to develop that relationship, that know, like, and trust factor. What's your kind of goal time-wise and contact-wise before they're actually probably ready to pull the trigger? I know it varies by people.
Yeah, it varies. It's so the people who are like, honestly, the people who are pretty warm, it can be within like I said, 2 to 4 weeks. It actually can happen pretty quickly. There is a specific process we follow. There's a nurturing process. So one of the things I hate is anybody that has LinkedIn, you probably had this happen where somebody hits you up on a message and they're like, hey, I've got this service. I think you're a perfect fit. I think you should look into it. You want to hop on a call? That doesn't work. If that's your mindset, don't do that. That doesn't work. I am relationship first on my messaging on LinkedIn. So I prefer not to talk about myself. I think that's the quickest way to get a door closed. And before I ever do an offer, I take the time to actually start to chat and build a conversation. So not too much, but so we'll reach out. Hey, saw we're in the same field, or hey, saw we worked in the same company. Just reaching out, connecting, make a comment on them. Saw this about you. Hey, and right, we have a little bit of chit chat. So we're building rapport. I'm starting the relationship step one. Learning a little bit about them. Then I lean in on the pain point specifically. Hey, I saw this happened in the space. How has that impacted you? And then they're like, oh man, that's rough. And then, okay, so I've got a little rapport. Now I've got a pain point. And so I'm like, hey, everybody that connects with me on LinkedIn has seen my profile. So my profile is a billboard, which literally says like who I am, what I do. Like, don't be afraid to do that, because people are going to look at you. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So if I can get the conversation started and I know they're looking at my profile and I can get that far in the conversation, then we just drop them a quick lead magnet. It's very, very, very simple. It's not a 45-minute you read kind of a thing. It's a very short, quick, like a 10-minute video.
10-minute video. Lead magnet's a short video. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, a short video for you to watch, and it's short because I've done a lot of content. You mentioned I do podcasts, but I've also done a lot of YouTube stuff. If you look at duration of views, you don't get people's attention for very long. So we all have this attention span of a goldfish. So then you follow those steps. You give them the lead magnet, and 9 times out of 10, if they've gotten to the point where they get the lead magnet, they're already interested enough because they're having the conversation. They know what pain point you're trying to solve. They've already seen your profile and they're like, cool, this sounds great. All right, let's hop on a call. And we got a few other steps we add in there, but it literally, it's a very high touch relationship building at that point. And then we do it, we have Zoom conversations and, as many as it takes. So whether it's a 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls, that's my point is not to like, how quickly can I close them? It's, I just have my steps and as I just follow those and as long as it takes. So some people will take longer. It could be 3 months. It could be, well, they don't want to hop on a call, but they'll hop on a webinar. And once they see the webinar, then they'll consume some stuff. So, but common when we're doing our outreach and engagement, it's probably about a 4-week cycle.
Nice. That's smart. That sounds really, really smart there, Stephen. Cool. And you've got a podcast going. Tell us a little bit about your show.
Yeah, the podcast, I love chatting to people. I love learning more. So, Dave, you would be a great guest, to be honest. I love to bring people in who can add value to other people. Other syndicators are great. I love to see their perspective. Other operators are great. I love to see their perspective. I've spoken with people who do private money loans, hard money loans. The focus is on real estate in and of itself. I've spoken to people who have, they're spinning up a platform for cryptocurrency, syndications, so it's a pretty good spectrum there, but I would say it's all things real estate investing, perspective. And that's really it. I selfishly, I get a chance to ask whatever I want to these people who I think are smarter than me, have other experiences. So,
that's it. It is a fantastic way to connect with people. It would be hard to meet otherwise, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
How do people find your show?
So people, surprisingly, people find my show. We have it on, what is it? Apple Podcast. What are those?
I guess what I'm asking is, what's the name of your show so people should find it?
It's super easy. Yeah. Stephen Lee Thomas Show. Like, that's it. I tried to keep it real simple. Just Stephen Lee Thomas Show. And then my website, because at some point we'll get to the point where how do people want to connect with you? StephenLeeThomas.com. It's really easy. You want to find me in social media, look up Stephen Lee Thomas. That's it. No fancy names, just Stephen Lee Thomas. So the show, Stephen Lee Thomas Show.
Perfect. Stephen, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for sharing some of your insights into not just real estate investing, but your process for connecting with new investor prospects, especially using LinkedIn. That's really, really smart. So hats off to you for that. And congratulations on the show as well.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.